From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Millicent Walker.
Good evening. Tonight, Nigerians rush to beat new deadline for linking of national identity number with their phone SIMs as they besiege NIMC offices in Abuja and Lagos. Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 ramps up measures to enforce compliance with protocols, vows to suspend passports of first 100 passengers who failed to take their post-arrival PCR test till June 2021. No second lockdown in Rivers State. Residents of Port Harcourt kick against planned restriction of movement by the state government. And concern over surging COVID-19 cases in the UK mounts as the country records over 53,000 infections in one day. Plus, we have business, sports and international news.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's stock market ranked as world's best performing stock market for 2020 on Bloomberg's Equity Index ranking.
On sports news tonight, Atletico Madrid reached a mutual agreement with Diego Costa to terminate the striker's contract.
The race to beat the new deadline of January the 19th, 2021 for Nigerians to get their national identity numbers linked to their phone SIMs is on, and no one wants to be caught on the wrong foot. Well, following the directive by the government to service providers to disconnect phone lines not linked to SIMs in January, subscribers are now in a panic mode to beat the deadline. As it appears, many do not see the extension of the time for the exercise as enough to enable all affected register for their NIN, prompting an uncontrolled crowd at the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC offices in parts of the country. Well, this played out in Lagos and Abuja today. But we begin in the nation's capital, where residents besieged the NIMC headquarters without observing the COVID-19 safety protocols.
Hundreds of people defy COVID-19 safety protocols at the headquarters of the National Identity Management Agency, NIMC, as they try to register for the identification numbers. It's like the survival of the fittest, and those who are unable to stand the pressure and frustration behind these high iron bars of the Commission have no choice but to step aside.
I'm embarrassed over the whole situation. I'm very, very embarrassed. I'm not happy. Because I was given a task to report here today, 7 a.m. rather. And I was here around that time. Nobody has come out to tell me what is happening. Nobody has come out to say, my friend, sit down here, we'll come and attend to you. No. An automaton has been given, a fixed duration has been given for everybody to register, and everybody is now cramping together, not minding the conditions of this COVID-19.
This is the point where prospective enrollees queue up for the special tag that will allow them to go in for their registration process. Those who already have the special tag proceed to this crowded area, which is the main entrance of the building where they're expected to be captured. At each of these points, COVID-19 safety protocols are flagrantly ignored. The crowd is overwhelming, and the pace of response by officials is very slow.
Their machines, they said that they have 10 machines, and out of the 10, 4 is functioning. So they're supposed to upgrade their system. I don't know what is wrong with their system here.
The experience is unexplainable. It's hectic. You wake up very early in the morning. If you know where I'm coming from, all the way from Zuba. Wake up very early in the morning, you come here, the crowd is much. The approach they bring in is not the best approach. They would have do it like, let's say, voters card. Like in every town, they will have their workers there, so that it will be easy for people.
There's no official of the Commission who's willing to explain why the process appears to be slow, and no one is allowed beyond this closed gate. not even the journalists. The federal government had approved a 3-week extension for telephone subscribers with the national identification number and 6 weeks extension for subscribers without the national identification number to get registered or be disconnected by their service providers. Many believe that the new deadline is the reason for this rush, leading to the total disregard for the COVID-19 safety protocols.
Back here in Lagos, the situation was not different. Residents storming the NIMC office at Alause, Ikeja for the exercise with a total disregard for social distancing. Only a few of them were spotted with face masks. They told Channels Television that the process can be made easy if government opened more centres across the state.
I've been here since 6 a.m. this morning. Actually, some of us who have ideas about how the process is run, we may have done ours, but some of our families may insist doing theirs. But as the process is going, we've not even been able to pass through the gates, not to talk of seeing the offices and the management involved. So I want the government of Nigeria to quickly respond.
Just look at this center at this time of the day. For God's sake, this time of COVID-19, for God's sake, and you can see the way how this place is crowded, and the government is not really making this exercise easy for us, for God's sake. They don't make it. I come to this place exactly 1 a.m. midnight. I drop bike live here. A friend of mine came all the way from Ibafo. Me, I'm from inside the mainland. Are you getting me now? So we came here all the way to make things easy for us. This form you are seeing here, I downloaded it at the center, at the print center yesterday, just to make things easy that when we get according to their instruction that we can walk into any printing press and download it. Many of them don't even have it, but I do this myself to print it, to make things easy. But still, just look at this time now, past 10. We have not even enrolled to show how much maybe we are going to even do today or not.
Nigerians may have to brace for tougher measures to be adopted by the government in the coming days in a bid to curb the spread of COVID-19 in the country. This hint was given today by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, where the chairman, Mr. Boss Mustafa, announced that effective from January the 1st, 2021, the passports of the first 100 passengers that failed to take their post-arrival PCR test will be published in the national dailies and suspended till June 2021. As a deterrent. He also asked states to reopen all laboratories and begin scaling up testing.
With effect from 1st of January 2021, the passports of the first 100 passengers that failed to take their day 7 post-arrival PCR test will be published in the national dailies. These passports, as a deterrent, would also be suspended from the 1st of January until June 2021.
For the Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, Dr. Chikwe Hekwazu, January 2021 will be a tough month. He notes that Nigerians have refused to adhere to the COVID-19 protocols, causing the national response to pass through a challenging phase.
Event centers are full. Our treatment centers are filling up. We're struggling to keep up. We're struggling to find the facilities to manage, the oxygen to manage. Every night we're faced with phone calls of patients desperate for care. So unfortunately, January will be a tough month for all of us. It will be tough, but we still have an opportunity to do what we need to do. We've been liaising with the executive governors of states across the country to be more purposeful in implementing the measures that we have agreed on collectively. And we have seen some of them doing that. But many of the states in the country haven't, and pretend as if there will be no consequence.
Meanwhile, the recent spike in COVID-19 cases does not appear to be of much concern for public transport operators and commuters in Lagos State. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, last week announced 1,145 new confirmed infections, representing the highest number of daily cases recorded since the outbreak in the country. This and other daily cases recorded in December suggest the reality of a second wave of the pandemic. But most residents of the city seem indifferent about this, as shown in this next report.
Being the major entry point into Lagos, the Berger Bus Terminal accommodates thousands of transport operators moving commuters to their destinations in the metropolis. Amid this hustle and bustle, many seem not to be bothered about the existence of the COVID-19 pandemic, let alone the recent spike in the number of confirmed cases. To a large extent, the use of face masks, hand sanitizers, and the practice of social distancing is neglected. Unlike the yellow-colored commercial buses, operators of the Lagos State-owned BRT buses here enforce the use of face masks. We asked this man why he's not wearing one.
I actually forgot mine, but I still have an extra and I want to get one more because I'm actually going somewhere right now. I can't have 1,000 persons infected with COVID-19 in a day, and you tell me it's only one person that's now infected and 900 is healed. How? How did it happen? What cured them? What did you use?
If I cover my mouth, I cannot ring my bell and call my passenger because I'm calling Aguda Ogba Ajayi Road. I want to elaborate another route because the roads have been full.
Perhaps to better understand the level of disregard for COVID-19 safety measures, there has been a drop in the patronage of face masks and hand sanitizers. Roadside traders like Debbie make extra marketing effort to convince passers-by and passengers to purchase one.
I'm trying to convince her to buy. She's asking me which of these she should buy, whether this or this. So I told her that this one is disposable. You use it once or twice, but this one is washable. Those people that are really scared, they are buying. But some people, not at least some, are buying it with force.
Like Berger, the outlook at Ojota and Yaba bus stops is also worrisome. Compliance with the state government's precautionary measures against COVID-19 is not encouraging.
We want to know why you are not wearing face mask. I have it with me. It's with me.
Okay. Why are you not wearing it?
I wear it when the motor is moving.
Even the BRT buses at Ojota are found wanting. Operators are not enforcing the use of face masks. Neither are they practicing social distancing nor loading at 60% passenger capacity, as directed by the Lagos State government. Like the transport space, markets are also prone to risk of COVID-19. Again, caution here is thrown to the wind. No use of face masks, no use of sanitizers, no social distancing at all. With the second wave of the pandemic gradually becoming a reality, and considering the level of disregard of preventive measures by residents, another lockdown may be on the horizon in Lagos State.
In part two, after the break, we have more on the COVID-19 pandemic, plus police for kidnap attempt in Katsina State, killing 6 bandits in the process. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Nigerians rush to beat new deadline for linking of national identity number with their phone SIMs as they besiege NIMC offices in Abuja and Lagos. Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 ramps up measures to enforce compliance with protocols vows to suspend passports of first 100 passengers who failed to take their post-arrival PCR test till June 2021. No second lockdown in River State. Residents of Port Harcourt kick against planned restriction of movement by the state government. And concern over surging COVID-19 cases in the UK mounts as the country records over 53,000 infections in one day. Now, lockdown is not a word many residents of Port Harcourt, the River State capital, seem to be comfortable with at this time. And they are asking the state government not to shut down the state as part of the new measures to be taken by Governor Nyesom Wike in the new year to curb the second wave of COVID-19. They told Channels Television that imposing a total lockdown will further shrink the economy that is yet to recover from the effect of the previous restrictions and put families under excessive pressure in the coming year.
COVID-19 first appeared in River State in March 2020 when a female model with a foreign travel history tested positive for the virus. The figures then became increasingly high, prompting the state government to set up holding and treatment centers and impose several measures, including total lockdown, to curb the spread. After achieving a level of success, the measures were relaxed. Now, with many ignoring the non-pharmaceutical protocols, the figures are high again, provoking Governor Nyesom Wike to propose a fresh lockdown.
But when you go to most of the churches, they don't wear masks. Go to markets, they don't wear masks. They believe nothing. COVID is not real. It's not real because it has not happened to you. Nobody has died whom you know that's very close to you. Before the end of the year, so many stringent measures will be taken. We are going to shut down. But I can tell you from January, it will no longer be the same thing.
Sahid depends on his daily income from menial jobs to survive. He tells Channels Television that he's not prepared for another lockdown.
As it is now, there is recession in the economy now. So there is no money to buy things now. So I've not gathered money to buy anything from the market.
A public health physician, Kanu Chukuneye, advises the government on the best way to mitigate the impact of the second wave of infection without hurting the socioeconomic well-being of the citizens.
Once you understand the dynamics of transmission, it has a lot to do with contact. So if there are things that you would do to reduce contact, you are on your way to controlling the infection. And what are those things? Of course, for the new ones that are coming into the country, we must ensure that our borders are well protected and proper screening are also involved. Those protocols that enables the government to ensure that any new infection coming from outside Nigeria is detected, we should strengthen those protocols.
The virus that causes COVID-19 is mainly transmitted through droplets when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or exhales, with River State recording over 3,000 cases so far and 64 deaths. The restrictions can be avoided if residents adhere to protocols as spelled out by medical experts and the government.
Over to security matters now, where troops continue to fight against insurgency in the northeast. The military says it has destroyed terrorist hideouts and neutralized several of their fighters at Sambiso Forest in Borno State. In a statement, the defense spokesman, Major General John Enenche, explains that the operation was carried out by Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole after a series of surveillance and reconnaissance. He said the intelligence showed that terrorists responsible for recent attacks in the southern part of Borno and northern part of Adamawa State had originated from the location. According to him, the NAF aircraft engaged them, destroying some of their structures and logistics stores, including a suspected anti-aircraft gun station, and neutralized several of them. And in Katsina State, the police says no fewer than 23 victims of kidnapping have been rescued at Lambo Village in Wurma Ward of Kofi local government area of the state. According to the police PRO in Katsina, Mr. Gambo Issa, the police killed 6 of the bandits in the process and recovered 74 rustled domestic animals along with 12 motorcycles from the fleeing bandits. He said the bandits had attacked the village earlier today at about 2:30, shooting sporadically with AK-47 rifles, leaving 2 persons dead, kidnapping 17 others. He stated that the personnel of the Nigeria Police Force, the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian Air Force were alerted, and they blocked all their possible escape routes and engaged them in a gun duel. Meanwhile, the Nigerian military says troops today engaged a band of bandits along the Kaduna-Abuja highway, killing 9 in the process. This was confirmed in a statement by the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Mr. Samuel Aruwan, who stated that the bandits were killed in a gun battle that lasted throughout Monday night till the early hours of today. The statement adds that the bandits were attempting to cross over from the eastern part of the Kaduna-Abuja road to the western part with a large herd of rustled cattle. The state governor, Nasir El-Rufai, has congratulated the security agencies on the successful operation, urging them to sustain the tempo in the ongoing offences against bandits. Well, staying with security matters, the Auxiliary Bishop of Owerri Catholic Archdiocese in Imo State, Bishop Chikwe Moses, has been abducted by gunmen. Confirming the incident, the State Police Command says the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Isaac Akimoyede, has activated the Quick Intervention Team and the Anti-Kidnapping Unit to rescue the bishop and arrest his abductors. According to the Archbishop of Owerri, Archbishop Anthony Obinna, the priest was kidnapped Sunday night, and since then there has been not been any form of communication from the kidnappers. Following the heightened insecurity in Sankara axis of Benue State, the State Security Council has banned the use of motorcycles in the area. The Permanent Secretary, Bureau of Internal Affairs and Special Services, explains in a statement the ban of motorcycles in Katsina Ala and Ukum local government areas takes immediate effect till further notice. The Security Council also banned illegal revenue checkpoints at the head bridge in Katsina Ala, as it mandates all staff of the Board of Internal Revenue to wear customized jackets and identity cards, while security agents are directed to dismantle all illegal revenue collection points and makeshift shops. Now, the family of late 38-year-old Uzamaka Ohanaja are still in mourning mood after she was killed by a stray bullet from the guns of the newly inaugurated state-owned Operation Delta Hawk. The late mother of 4 children died instantly during the shooting, while 2 others sustained injuries and are currently receiving treatment at the hospital. Meanwhile, the state government has called for calm, promising to punish those found culpable.
This is Opanam, an area on the outskirts of Asaba, the Delta State capital in south-south Nigeria. Members of this community are in mourning over the death of one of its residents, Uzwamaka Ohanaja, another victim of extrajudicial killing. She was killed just a few days to Christmas, her life snuffed out by bullets of men of the newly formed state-owned security outfit, Operation Delta Hawk. According to reports, the team of the security outfit was chasing a car without a plate number. One of the men fired at the vehicle. Stray bullets from the gun hit 2 people, one of whom was Uzwamaka, who died on the spot. Sympathizers thronged the Ohanaja's home as they grieve. Her husband and 11-year-old daughter are devastated, trying hard to come to terms with the unfortunate incident.
Then come say, bullet touch my wife. I asked the mother, he die or he die like they say make I come first. Then as I come, now one man carry me go corner because of my daughter. Say my wife don't die.
I feel so lonely. She told me that I'm not feeling fine. So she told me that she's going to buy medicine for me. So she were inside calculating her money when this thing happened.
For now, the family is yet to decide on the next line of action, but is hopeful that justice will prevail as soon as possible. At the Federal Medical Center, Asaba, the other victim is said to be receiving treatment. The issue of extrajudicial killing remains a delicate subject. A human rights activist bears his mind on the development.
The police is included, the civil defense is included, the military, all of them are included. So you cannot exempt police because all of them are together, so all of them will suffer for the consequences. They will prosecute all of them. There's no way you can exempt any one of them.
Meanwhile, the state government is calling for calm and patience while investigations are being carried out into the incident. Coordinator of Delta Hawk promises that the matter will be addressed.
We are taking major steps to see how we can do our internal investigation on why and how we did now shot at the vehicle in that range.
Operation Delta Hawk was inaugurated on December the 11th, 2020 by Governor Ifeanyi Okowa to enhance the security of lives and property. Investigators will be looking into Delta Hawk's operations on December 22nd and what could have led to the shooting that took Uzoamaka's life.
And to the judiciary, where a federal high court sitting in Abuja has dismissed the suit filed by the People's Democratic Party challenging the eligibility of Mr. Osagie Ezeyamu for taking part in the September 19, 2020 Edo governorship election. Delivering the judgment, Justice Ahmed Mohammed says the suit has become a mere academic exercise owing to the outcome of the election, which the APC and Mr. Ezeyamu lost. The PDP had on July 3, 2020, filed a suit claiming that Mr. Ezeyamu was not a product of a valid primary election and should not have been allowed to participate in the election that produced Mr. Godwin Obaseki as the governor of Edo State. When the news at 10 returns, Nigeria's stock market ranked as world's best performing stock market for 2020 on Bloomberg Equity Index ranking. That's all business news. Please join us again. And still on the Edo governorship election, a federal high court in Abuja has adjourned the alleged certificate forgery case of the All Progressives Congress APC against Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State until December 30th. At the resumed hearing today, the APC, through its counsel, Mr. Akin Olujimi, attempted to tender some documents in evidence through a subpoenaed witness. The PDP and Mr. Obaseki, however, objected to the tendering of the documents on the grounds that the process did conform with the laws guiding admissibility of documents. The judge, Justice Ahmed Mohammed, however, admitted the document, even though they said it didn't, and INEC Form EC9 in evidence as Exhibit PL2, and subsequently adjourned the matter until December 30. That's tomorrow, for the plaintiffs to close their case and for the defense to open theirs. And a member of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Professor Femi Odekunle, has died at the age of 77. The news of his death was made known in a statement released by the presidency. In the statement, President Muhammadu Buhari describes Professor Odekunle as a valued friend and a towering intellectual giant with an impeccable knowledge of his chosen academic field, criminology, and in such others as governance and administration. A statement by his spokesman quotes, "The president is saying his death is very saddening. His lasting contributions as well as his charisma, wit, and sense of humor will be sorely missed by all of us, his friends and associates. May the Almighty repose his soul." Professor Odekunle was appointed a member of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption in August 2015. Some other stories now. The management of Deeper Life High School has broken silence on the allegation of molestation that is rocking the institution. In a released video, the Education Secretary of the school, Mrs. Thelma Malaka, harps on the need for patience, saying the investigation takes its course. She adds that as there is no intention to protect anyone, as the issue of molestation is highly frowned upon by the school.
The Office of the Governor of Akwa Ibom has taken over the investigation of the matter to ensure neutrality and a dispassionate outcome. We appreciate the concerned effort of everyone who has shown support in the investigation thus far. We reiterate that we will be transparent and that justice will not only be served, it will be seen by all that it has been served. The police is also currently investigating this matter, and we have been invited to share our own side of the story. Deeper Life High School stand on the core values of integrity and uprightness and will not attempt to cover up any immoral act under any guise. We enjoin the public to be on the lookout for the final report, as will be released by the appropriate authorities soon.
Let's take you back to River State, where the Governor Nyesom Wike has restated his commitment to complete the road leading to Opobo town by January 2021 after 150 years without an access road. Governor Wike made the promise during an event in Opobo town to mark the 150 years anniversary of founding the ancient kingdom. The governor said he is happy that the people of Opobo can now drive home at the moment, pending the completion of the road.
It is my happiness that our people can now come by road. Those of you, as you are coming from Ogoni area, you are seeing that we have finished the first phase of Sabinwa Bori food realization. And now we believe that the second phase will take you to Kono and with the street lights, at least to ease and reduce the level of crime in that place. I'm happy that you can drive from Bori. Within 5 minutes, you're almost heading to Opobo. If that road is completed, I think it will bring development to the place.
And to the southwest, where the Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun is asking the federal government to grant the state a special agriculture processing zone status. This, according to him, is to further strengthen the agricultural sector and its value chain, provide more employment opportunities as well as food sufficiency through a public and private partnership arrangement. Governor Abiodun was speaking in Abeokuta, the state capital, while inspecting a multi-million naira farm aquaculture project owned by former President Olusegun Obasanjo.
We have 54 of it here. We can turn around.
We can grow and we can feed Lagos, we can feed the hinterland, we can feed, all the industries that will also take what we grow as inputs, raw materials for processing. And no wonder why we have also decided that we are going to bid for the special agro-processing zone, and I believe that that should be awarded to us very soon. What we've been able to do with Central Bank of Nigeria has been very fruitful in terms of job creation. To date, we have empowered at least about 9,000 of our youths, that we've given parcels of land to. We've marked them with off-takers that we call anchors. And we're looking to do another 10,000 in the next few months. And when we say 10,000 people have become agripreneurs, each person represents maybe a household of 4. So that's about 40,000 people by multiplier effect. So we believe in this project. We believe that agriculture is a way out of poverty.
Let's find out more about the world's best performing stock market. Here's Tenyola Shibowale.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Well, Millicent's Nigeria stock market is once again being ranked as the world's best performing stock market in 2020. According to Bloomberg's tracking of stock markets, the domestic bourse recorded the highest return among 93 equity indexes, posting its best annual return since 2013, after rising to 45.7% this year. Analysts attribute the latest feat to investors' appetite for riskier assets, which have remained strong due to persistent low yield in the country's fixed income market. In January this year, Nigeria's stock market was ranked as the world's best stock market after gaining 600 billion naira in 7 days before falling several places behind. It later reclaimed the top spot in October after extending a 12-day rally and recording its highest surge in 5 years. Well, the Lagos State House of Assembly has passed the 1.163 trillion naira 2021 appropriation bill, christened Budget of Rekindled Hope, into law. The amount is 8.5 billion naira higher than the 1.155 trillion naira, which was initially presented for consideration by the state governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on November the 9th. This comes after weeks of deliberations, interactions and defense of the budget proposal by the various ministries, departments and agencies in the state before the standing committees of the House and ratified by the Joint Committee on Economic Planning and Budget and Financing. The sum of 460.58 billion naira was approved as recurrent expenditure from the Consolidated Revenue Fund, and 702.93 billion naira was approved as capital expenditure from Development Revenue Fund. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation says it recorded a gross revenue of 202.3 billion naira, which excludes statutory and obligatory deductions in November. The latest figures from the National Oil Company, which were presented in a report to the Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting between December the 15th and 16th, represents a 37.3% increase against 161.9 billion naira recorded in October. The report further shows that revenue received from crude oil export in November amounted to $73.27 million, or 27.78 billion naira, representing a 500% increase compared with the revenue recorded in October 2020. President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration will continue to encourage Nigerians to embrace agriculture in order to ensure food security as well as alternative source of revenue. He made this known today at the Presidential Economic Advisory Council meeting in Abuja, which sought to review the domestic and global economy in the outgoing year. President Buhari explained that it has become imperative following the devastating impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the oil market, which is Nigeria's economic mainstay. Meanwhile, the president has ordered the central bank not to release any money for food importation as government seeks to tackle food inflation in the coming year. Well, back to the domestic stock market. It resumed from the Christmas break and started off the final trading week of the year positive, gaining more than 167 billion naira amid renewed bargain hunting by investors. Well, Chimeze Obiwagu tells us more.
Thanks, Jenny. Well, it's the start of the last trading week for 2020, and I must say the equities market has started well. Sentiment remains strong even as we approach the end of the year amidst expected portfolio rebalancing by fund managers. It looks like a market on steroids. The way the bull is charging, I wouldn't be surprised if this market hits the 40,000 mark before year end. The index crossed the 39,000 mark today, and don't forget, for the first time in history, the market capitalization hit the 20 trillion naira mark last week. Here are the major drivers: industrial and the banking sectors. Bua Cement, for instance, rose by 6.7%, adding 4 naira to its share price. The cement giant had signed a new agreement with a Chinese company to increase its installed capacity over the next 3 years. That alone spurred investors' appetite towards its stocks. And for the banks, early bird positioning ahead of dividend payout is what is driving the stocks, Zenith and Access Bank. There were some renewed bargain hunting, more buyers than sellers today. Activity ramped up. Over 722 million shares were sold in 5,042 deals worth about 4.4 billion naira. The clock is ticking. 2 more days to say goodbye to 2020 and market does not envisage any sellout. The index is set to remain stable and positive for the rest of the year. Back to you, Tenny.
Thanks a lot, Chimizi. Meanwhile, global stock markets ended today's trading session with mixed performance, with U.S. indexes shedding some of the gains recorded on Monday. Well, let's take a look at their closing numbers. And as business news tonight, it's back to you, Millicent.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial star 894 hash now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Tenny. An online portal for the training of small business owners has been developed by the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency, SMEDEN. The initiative, according to the Director General of SMEDEN, Dr. Dikko Radde, aims at improving the knowledge base and skills of entrepreneurs on how to make their products competitive in the international market.
We have launched a digital academy in which now MSMEs can key into those digital academy and be able to get all the training they may require. There are so many and numerous types of training that the MSMEs can key into that portal and be able to get the necessary training they require in their shops, in their offices, or at home. One of the challenges that the MSME are facing in the country is how to package, how to brand their product, and how to export those products to our neighboring country, especially at this period when Mr. President has signed African Free Continental Trade Agreement, which challenge our country and other African countries to be able to sell off their product. The main reason for introducing this project is to enable our MSME to have the capacity to brand and control the quality of their product, to enable them meet the competition of other products from other African countries.
Now, a top UK health official says a surge in coronavirus cases in the country is of extreme concern, as a record number of cases was reported for the second day running. On Tuesday, 53,135 new COVID cases were recorded, as well as 414 more deaths within 28 days of a positive test. Hospitals in England are now treating more COVID patients than at the peak of the first wave in April. Let's head over to our London studios, where Simon Pusey has more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The new and more contagious variant of COVID-19, which has been first identified in the UK, has now been confirmed in over 20 countries and territories around the world. India is the latest country to confirm cases of the new variant. Infections have also been reported in several other European countries, such as Spain, Switzerland, Sweden and France, as well as Canada and Japan. The spread of the new variant has been linked to people who have arrived from the UK. More than 50 countries have imposed travel restrictions on the UK in recent days to help prevent more of the spread. President-elect Joe Biden has said that his transition team has faced obstruction from the political leadership at the US Defense Department. However, a Pentagon spokesman denied the accusations and said it had been completely transparent. Mr. Biden has also claimed that agencies critical to US security have suffered enormous damage under Donald Trump. The president-elect takes office on January the 20th, but Mr. Trump has so far refused to concede the election. Meanwhile, more than 100 Republicans have joined Democrats in the House of Representatives to override President Donald Trump's veto of a $741 billion defense bill.
The yeas are 275.
If the Senate follows suit later this week, it will be the first time that Congress delivers a bipartisan rebuke to the president. The National Defence Authorization Act, which funds overseas military operations and other needs, has been passed by Congress every year since 1967. The President has vetoed the bill because it doesn't repeal a section which protects tech companies from legal liability over content posted by their users. He has accused Facebook and Twitter of being biased against him in the past. The EU chief negotiator Michel Barnier has said that the Brexit trade deal brings a little stability.
Délivrer un Brexit ordonné.
He added that the agreement struck on Christmas Eve does not cover all aspects of the future EU-UK relationship, with foreign policy cooperation still to be defined. The Brexit trade deal, due to come into force on January the 1st, has been unanimously approved by EU ambassadors. The agreement is due to be voted on by the House of Commons and House of Lords in the UK on Wednesday, under the UK's own ratification process. A US judge has turned down a $28.5 million bail package by Ghislaine Maxwell, as the court believes she poses a flight risk. Ms. Maxwell is accused of facilitating the abuse of underage girls by the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. She has been in jail in Brooklyn in New York since she was arrested in July. 4 of the 6 charges against Ms. Maxwell relate to the years between 1994 and 1997, when prosecutors say she helped Mr. Epstein groom girls as young as 14. She faces up to 35 years in prison if convicted. Russia has admitted that its coronavirus death toll is more than 3 times higher than previously reported. New figures have shown that more than 186,000 Russians have died from the virus, up from the 55,265 the country officially reported. The new figure puts the country behind only the US and Brazil as the 3rd highest number of fatalities. Bangladesh has moved at least 1,800 Rohingya refugees to the Bhasan Char Island. 4 Bangladesh Navy ships have carried the Rohingya refugees, who have been sheltered in camps in Cox's Bazar since fleeing the 2017 Myanmar military clampdown to the remote island. The South Asian nation plans to relocate 100,000 Rohingya in a move to decongest the refugee camps which shelter approximately 1 million Rohingya. About 800 polling stations in the Central African Republic have not opened due to attacks by armed rebels during the country's presidential and legislative election. Authorities say that 14% of the polling stations nationwide failed to operate as rebel groups barred the electoral staff from being deployed. The Electoral Authority has said that they do not know the proportion of Central Africans who were able to vote. Incumbent President Faustin Archange Touadéra is currently the front-runner in polls. And finally, a spa in Cairo has introduced a new massage that uses live snakes. The reptiles are believed to be helpful for relieving muscle pain and soothing joints. Snakes are placed on the backs of the customer, as they are also thought to improve blood circulation and release endorphins. The animals can also be put on the customer's face. The spa uses a combination of pythons and 28 other different types of non-venomous snakes during the 30-minute session. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Let's switch to sports now. Here's Ayotunde Balindi.
Many thanks, Millicent. Eyimba FC have beaten local rivals Abia Warriors FC by a 1-0 to kickstart their campaign in the 2020-21 Nigeria Professional Football League. Samad Kadiri scored the only goal of the match via penalty kick in the 53rd minute to give the 8-time champions the victory. Atletico Madrid have reached a mutual agreement with Diego Costa to terminate the Spanish international striker's stay at the club. Now, the former Chelsea forward's deal with the La Liga Giants was set to expire in June 2021, but he has asked the club to end his stay prematurely owing to personal reasons. It means the 32-year-old will now be able to join a new club on a free transfer in the January transfer window. Arsenal's resurgence continued with a 1-0 victory over Brighton at the American Express Community Stadium, courtesy of a 66th-minute goal by France forward Alexander Lacazette in the English Premier League. Elsewhere, Burnley's recent improvement also continued as they edged to a narrow 1-0 victory over bottom side Sheffield United at Turf Moor after captain Ben Mee scored his first goal for the club. In other games, West Ham and Southampton settled for a goalless draw. Leeds United demonstrated all of their attacking flair as they beat Sam Allardyce's West Brom by 5-0. And in the last game of the day, Manchester United pipped Wolves 1-0 at Old Trafford. Now, the Premier League has confirmed that 18 players and staff have tested positive for coronavirus, the highest number since weekly testing began. Manchester City's clash at Everton was postponed on Monday after an outbreak of multiple positive cases at the Etihad. According to the Premier League, this figure surpassed the previous highest figure recorded number of 16 for the month of November. And Cameroon has claimed that it has received approval from the Confederation of African Football to host the 2021 African Nations Championships with spectators in strict compliance with COVID-19 measures. Cameroon's Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Nassise Kombe, says 25% of spectators will be admitted in the different stadiums during the group phase of the competition. According to the minister, the percentage could rise to 50% during the knockout stage of the competition, provided the health and safety measures are respected. And Rafa Nadal and Roger Federer have been re-elected to the Association of Tennis Professional Players Council, whose term runs until June 2022. The council also saw the re-election of Canadian Felix Auger-Aliassime, Australian John Millman, South African Kevin Anderson, Briton Andy Murray, and Brazilian Bruno Soares. In addition, France's Gilles Simon returns to the council, having served previous terms, while newcomers Pablo Andujar of Spain and New Zealander Marcus Daniel will serve their first term. And that's a wrap in sports news. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. It's back to you, Melissa.
Thank you, Ayotunde. And the main news again. Many Nigerians today rushed to beat the new deadline for linking of national identity number with their phone SIMs as they besieged the National Identity Management Commission offices in Abuja and Lagos. Also today, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 came out talking tough on measures to enforce compliance with protocols and vowed to suspend passports of first 100 passengers who failed to take their post-arrival PCR test till June 2021. And concern over surging COVID-19 cases in the UK rose today as the country recorded over 53,000 infections in a single day. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Morgan. Have a good night.